All right, so we are here. What is it, March 11th? It's our second mastermind session for the Fast Track to Freedom. And as Meg described last week, mastermind means collaborative effort. So this is you guys who are committed to Fast Track to Freedom. And really just we're here just to talk about what's going well, what might be pushing up against your comfort zone, your boundaries, what you want help with, and then it's not like answers, it's so we can be on this together. So, anybody want to jump in? We've about a week and a half into this.
I will.
Yeah, go ahead, Zena.
Hi, everyone. So, you know, I've been a coach for a while, and my before and after's been out there for a while, and you know, my peeps are like, not her again, you know. So but what's been working for me, so a lot of people aren't responding to that, but what I am getting, which is new for me, is all of the my stories, all of seeing who's liking my stories and going and private messaging them and starting conversation. So that's been a good thing for me. So I just want to share that.
I think that's such a good point, Zena. And a lot of us, I think, are kind of hitting up against that those of us have been coaching for a while, we have shared our story, you know, so it was okay to share it or share it with a different spin on it, but it won't necessarily get the response that they were implying on the Fast Track to Freedom. And one thing I learned through this journey, and this is good for you to know because we're all going to be bringing on health coaches, is that this Fast Track to Freedom is a great thing to introduce a new coach to right away. You know, and I love that right away out of the gate. It's not just sharing their story day one. It's let's start building your engagement and your audience. So, so good point on that. Anybody else have any experience from sharing your story last week?
I just want to say I actually did a different spin on it, like you said. Paul and I did a video instead and just kind of showed a picture, and it's still circulating. You know, of course, today we had to go back and do a post on it, and I just added a up-to-date picture on there, but it's still going. There's been over 750 views on it, and I've actually got 3 different health assessments from that video. So, I mean, I love it. I can't say enough about it. And to go out of my comfort zone to start the conversations with people, that's where it's really helped me. I actually gained a coach from it because was just having conversations with some of her people that I normally wouldn't have done. One of my clients, just kind of going to her people that were commenting on her things and, you know, adding them as friends, and then going and saying, how do you know Pam? And then when I did that, you know, I said, I'm her health coach, you know, and then that sparked, oh, I need a health coach. And so I told Pam, I said, there's people asking about your program. You know, I can coach them or you can coach them because they're really wanting to know. And so she came right on 2 weeks in on plan and had several interests. We had 4 calls just yesterday evening. So it's been great for me.
Bam. That's the way to show us how it's done. That is good. And it showed that boldness, right? Of, you know, so often we just post and we're waiting for people. It's like fishing, right? We're waiting for them to jump out of the pond, but you actually went after it by just starting authentic conversations. How do you know so-and-so? And I also I did the same thing. I was kind of like, okay, 10 years into this. So I did a live as well instead of a before and after. So that was great. I saw that you and Paul did that. That was good.
So if I can jump in.
Yeah, please do.
So I connected, it was kind of funny working the way they say to work it. An old business colleague of mine, actually, he used to be on my team years and years ago at Merrill Lynch. He just said liked, and I said, oh, wow, Paul, hey man, you know, what's going on in your world? You know, one of those things, we've got to catch up. And so sure enough, he said, yeah, let's catch up. And so he sent me his number, we got a call going, and it's so cool because his career had taken him overseas. And I said, okay. So I go, Hong Kong, Singapore, what do you got? You know, so he goes, why? So I go, wow, we expanded in Hong Kong and Singapore. He goes, oh, that is so cool. He goes, let me think about it. Let me figure out what colleagues maybe I could connect you with through LinkedIn or Facebook and stuff like that. And I'll put you in touch with them. So again, it wasn't a health assessment, but again, it was a way to hopefully move the ball forward to hopefully get me that much closer to maybe somebody in Hong Kong and Singapore. So I thought it was cool. It was fun catching up with an old friend that I had kind of, you know, we haven't talked in years. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Dee, I have a question.
Sure, Lori.
Hey, so this is my first time having time to jump on during the day, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
So, and so I might be kind of going back in time a little bit. I did the first 2 days of the fast track. And so from those first 2 days, I hit that hard and was following exactly what they said to do. I've added 11 people in 11 days. So I am now behind on the fast track because I'm trying to catch up from, and it's just been awesome. Is that going to stay up? I mean, is that something that's always going to be there? So, because I obviously am behind, but that's okay, all for good reasons, right? So I just want to make sure, is that going to stay up so I can continue to get caught back up where I left off?
That's a great question. To my knowledge, yes. I mean, it's actually been there, I think, for a year and a half already. So it's not our group. It's, you know, we're poaching into another group, but we were invited. That is, as far as I know, it will be there. And so, you know, even if you had a coach join your team or somebody on your team is like, well, I didn't start yet. The great thing is, it's just day one. Pick your own day one. Yep. We just decided to go as a team. But gotcha. I've done another social media course, and the answer was always, if you fell behind, just pick up where you stopped and then just go from there.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And congrats.
Yeah, doing well.
Thank you.
Betsy, do you want to share a little bit about, you know, kind of that we were texting a bit ago about the difference in the responses on an engagement post versus a before and after?
Yeah, I don't know where you want me to go with that, but yeah, I'll just put it out there. I was very discouraged because I put one of those stupid engagement posts up, and I mean, people come out of the woodworks playing the engagement post. I put it before and after, and I get 0 comments, and I'm like, what's the deal? What's the deal?
Raise your hand if you've ever experienced that. Right? Why do we think that is? If you had to guess, anyone, you can guess Betsy or anyone.
You know, just fear. I think people are just afraid to engage on that because they're like, oh, what's going to happen next if I engage? You know, but I have made it a point on all of those engagement posts to go back and just like the towel, do you fold A or B? I would go back, whatever their response was, and say, have you always folded that way? If not, what made you change? Or some of them I just put always ? And, you know, just something to change up the wording, the engagement, so that Facebook police didn't kick me out for having the same response. So I have made a lot of connections that way that were there, but probably in the background. But yeah, the whole transformation, I'm like, really? Nobody's curious?
They are. So there's a couple of things happening that I love, and I'm just learning on this. And I've been, you know, I did a different program before this and now this one, but the engagement post, which is awesome, is you see it's pulling people out of the woodwork. Right? So we're working the Facebook algorithms. And so when you have a post that gets activity, Facebook decides up front, any post you put out, how many people are going to get to see it. So I have 2,800 friends, 2,800 people don't see it. It probably goes to an eighth of that. And then when it gets some activity, then Facebook goes, oh, okay, it's kind of popular. And it's a social page, right? It's getting interaction, bumps it up to a few more people. They interact, bumps it up. So what the engagement post is it's now opening it up. And you did the exact, I don't want to miss anybody to miss this piece of it. You picked it up and you started a dialogue with the people that responded. So then Facebook says, ooh, these people like each other, you know, so I better let that person still see stuff in Betsy's newsfeed. So the reality is that people saw the before and after, and probably different people than who have ever seen your before and afters. But just like somebody responded in there, they're afraid to like it because then they're afraid you're going to reach out and see if they want to do the program, and they're not ready yet. So how many times, and Betsy, you were one of them, I think, where people go, girl, I've been stalking you for 2 years, you know, and they've never liked a picture or done anything. And then you get that private message that they're ready.
Yeah.
Laura.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? So you said with Facebook, like they'll only show your post to about 1/8 of your full, you know, network. So when people start engaging with you and coming out of the woodworks, does that then like make some of your people fall off of that 1/8, or does it make that 1/8 increase?
That's a great question. So the real answer is we're not 100% sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens, we do know, is when Facebook, when you connect with, say, Melanie, right? Facebook says, oh, they're in community together, right? And now you'll start to see all of Melanie's stuff that she's posting. And that's why it's so important. If you're trying to reach somebody, it's really important to go to their page, okay? If you're not seeing it in your feed, go to their page. Say, you know, I just thought of Sally. I haven't talked to Sally in forever. I don't see her on Facebook. Go to Sally's page and see what Sally's posting. Comment, oh, that is so neat. Beautiful picture of your daughter or whatever, you know? And then boom, all of a sudden, Facebook says, uh-huh. Okay, now it may, and I think it does, it may drop somebody out that you haven't been communicating with in a while, and it may push that out of the way. So you're always, it's not just about what's in your feed, but it's also about you going out and finding people that, what I call those random thoughts that pop in your head, right? Going and say, hey, what happened here? And another thing, I know we love each other as coaches on this page. Do not, okay, friend all your coaches. All right, because if you start friending and start communicating back and forth in Facebook with your coaches, guess what? All you're going to have is coaches in your feed. All right. So again, it's not for those coaches that don't connect with you, they're not being mean. They're not being rude. They just understand that all of a sudden, if I connect with Laura, all I'm going to see is Laura's stuff, and they want to kind of keep that in there. So anything you can add?
No, I was going to elaborate on that. Like, you guys are the most important people in the world to me, but I'm also building a business as well. And what was interesting is I always, for the longest time, I would accept every coach's friend request. I would be commenting on your stuff, Laura, because I want you to know I see you. You're important. This is I thought I was helping it boost your post. But then when I realized through all this was that it was just clogging my newsfeed, that all I was seeing was health coaches. And then the only people commenting and liking on my stuff was health coaches. So I stopped accepting requests. I stopped commenting on other coaches' stuff. And you're right, it does start to filter it out. I don't know if you're seeing it or not, but who I'm seeing in my newsfeed now is some of these other people that I've been engaging with. And so that's where we want to put our energy, is in those new connections and the new conversations. So that was a great, great question. Lori.
Also, I was going to say what I do is in my little downtime, is I go to my friends list, because, you know, I've been doing the adding 5 people every day or something like that. So, but I actually go back through my friend list and look at who's there that I haven't talked to in a long time. And then I do go to their page that way. And then I like something, or I'm trying to get into their personal message. So I might just, instead of making a comment on the page, I send them a PM and say what I want to say there, so that I think is supposed to be triggering the conversation as well for Facebook.
Yes, absolutely, Lori. I mean, that's a great thing. I've done it and actually advised some coaches who are like, I don't know who to start conversations with. On your phone, it's really nice because your friends list is in alphabetical order on the phone. I've actually done it where, like, I've gone through my A's, you know, and I'm like, okay, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to, you know, Alice in so long. Go look at Alice's wall, try to get engaged. So being very, very intentional about who you're reaching out to. The other thing you can do, if you're unaware, and you can just do a little Google research on this, but you can make list. You can make friend list of who you want to show up in your newsfeed. So if you've made some new connections and you want to start seeing their stuff, you can actually make a list called new connections. Or if you have a candidate list and you want to stay on it, you know, so you're making sure that you're, you know, I call it, for lack of a better word, flirting with them, like keeping the conversation going. You can make a list. And so if you're unsure about how to do that, just Google, how do I make a friend list?
And there was a question in the chat too, as far as whether or not we should unfollow coaches. Unless you're up against your, 5,000 friends, unless you're up against your 5,000, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just, again, recognize that you've got coaches and colleagues with you in there. And if you start hitting up against your 5,000, then maybe unfollow them just so you can squeeze other people in. One other tip too, I know we're on multiple platforms. What I mean by that is, we're talking primarily about Facebook today. But again, leverage the information that you're posting in Facebook, leverage that across other platforms as well, right? It's not like you have to come up with new stuff, even though some of those platforms are unique in kind of their style, right? I don't want to say LinkedIn, I came from the business world, right? LinkedIn's a little bit more stuffier, okay, per se. So you might want to adjust it a little bit, but I've been posting before and afters on Monday morning, and I'm getting a lot of views. I mean, like 600-700 views of it, and comments, not as many comments, obviously, but you're getting a lot of views. So it's getting out there and people are seeing it. And I do get clients from LinkedIn as well, so.
Last week we talked a lot about how uncomfortable it was for the first week for people, and I just wanted to kind of give some feedback that it was super uncomfortable for me to friend 5 people every day because I felt like I was running out of people. So then I was really having to push my limits on where I was going to find these people to friend. But I have stayed true to this. It's a commitment. And so as uncomfortable as it's been, I've done it, and I've started a conversation, as awkward as it seems, but I've been doing it. And yesterday, and I don't know if it was just because it only happened yesterday, but what was yesterday? 10 days in, I started getting friend requests from other people rather than me requesting people. And interestingly enough, so far, the people that's happening, I know them, but it's like through somebody, like it's very distant how I know them. And so that's been an interesting thing that just started happening yesterday. So if you're, I don't know, and it's a happy thing because then they're reaching out to me. And like Meg said,
yes,
nobody likes to be friended, right? But I'm just sharing that to say, I don't know if that's happening for anyone else, but I'm just giving some encouragement because it is uncomfortable, but now here's a fringe benefit possibly of doing that. So I just wanted to encourage anyone.
Jennifer, thanks for sharing that. That's a great point. And that friend of a friend and how they found your stuff, it's kind of funny. On Facebook, it's harder to figure that out. On LinkedIn, it's actually pretty easy because if you click a person that you don't know that viewed in LinkedIn, you click it and it says who your mutual friends are right there. So it's kind of easier to find that out. I had 3 new connections just this week so far of people that saw it, okay, and they gave a thumbs up, and I was like, who are they, and then I find out they're connected through other colleagues that I know. So it's just a little easier, I think, through LinkedIn, but great point. And by the way, we're by no means the social media experts. So I know there's other experts on the phones or on the call. So please
feel free to jump in if you've got something to offer that would add value.
I do, and a lot of times, that's a great question, Betsy. So the question is, do you post the same thing on LinkedIn that you post on Facebook? I do. Sometimes I may, just the style or the language in which I use, I may change it up just a little bit, but like before and afters, I personally, I'm getting away from a lot more before and afters on Facebook. I think they edit that stuff out. But I will put, stories out there of success, if that makes sense. But before and afters on LinkedIn, I'll use the same person on both sides if I have a good story, a good individual with a before and after. And again, a lot of the inspirational stuff, right? So they talk about engagement. Engagement's not ideal for LinkedIn, but inspiration is, so putting something out there for inspiration out there on LinkedIn is great.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tracy, I saw your comment and you said you're not getting any bites. If that is on Facebook, then I say 2 things. One is make sure your settings are to public or to, at the very least, friends, because sometimes it can default to only me and you don't realize it. This is why you have nobody commenting on it. The other thing that I would share with you, Tracy, is that when that has happened to me, like a few times, I will just text a few of my friends and say, hey, you know, I'm trying to build a business. Do you mind commenting on this Facebook post? And all it takes is them commenting and me replying. And usually by the time that happens like 2 or 3 times, it's like up and then it kind of takes off on its own. So, and again, I'm not an expert either. I'm just kind of sharing what I've experienced for 2 different reasons that might.
Yes, sometimes it just gets a little missed. I've done that. Or one time I had it was an engagement post and it was a good engagement post and it was just sitting there. And 2 times it's happened. The first time I realized I was set to private. I don't know how the heck, but it was set to only me seeing it. So I had to open it up. And then it's good to have a few bump friends. I want to talk about bumping for a minute. So a few bump friends means I might reach out and say, hey, Tracy, you know, nobody's commented on my post. Can you do it for me? And then I would do it for you. You know, you could be like, hey, D, nobody's bumped my post, you know, do it. And it's called a bump because what happens is that, you know, somebody comments, and that's what I said, the minions in Facebook says, ooh, somebody likes this, and then they'll bump it up. I'm not sure if they covered this in the training, but one thing that I've learned is that when you do an engagement post, and let's say you get 40 people that respond, don't go in and do 40 replies all at once, because that will only move your post up 1 time. Take your time and do 2. I have engagement posts, you guys, from 3 weeks ago. I'm still working. And every time I do it, 4 more people comment, you know, so I'll just go in and do 1. And that's what they were having us do when they said, go in and do a comment on your before and after. What that did is it pushed it back up so that more people would see it. It got it into action. So almost every post I do, I stagger the responses, only 1 or 2 every couple of hours or even a day.
Yeah. And just one additional on that. So if you hear what Dee's saying as far as bumping, once you post, right, at that point, you know, you might want to spend a little time and, you know, going into some other, you know, potential clients or prospects, their pages, and kind of commenting on their stuff, but then go away. Okay, move away from your social media. You know, we can get caught up in just staying in social media all day. And we're like, at the end of the day, we're like, oh, okay, what did I just accomplish? So I would just suggest setting up that power time and maybe earlier in the day, and then the power time later in the day. And then it just, you just feel more productive. At least I do. You know, I just gotta turn it off, because then you'll see things coming in. And it just seems more efficient. You can blow through social media if you're just sitting down for a half hour.
Yeah, time blocking. Yeah, because it'll suck the life out of you guys. If we let it, you can find yourself on social media all day and it's not moving your business forward.
That's right. Being the social media whiz that I am.
My husband told me he was tired of looking at the top of my head.
You need to pay attention to that.
Because I'm laying like this.
Yep. Pay attention to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit soft, so talk loud.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say that my engagement on my page in general has really started soaring from really working these posts. And even in my stories, I posted a story, it had over 200 views on the story, right? And I just find this really exciting because I wasn't sure before how to really work a post. So I've really been more intentional about going in and only doing a few at a time, and then circling back the next day and doing more, and just really kind of doing that. And people, like in the last 2 days, people have just been messaging me, hey, I want to know more about what you're doing. I want to know more about what you're doing. And these are people were not on my radar at all, not in terms of people I've reached out to or anything like that. So, I mean, I just had a health assessment this morning with somebody that just reached out to me yesterday, right? So it's really exciting. And not only that, but just for myself, you know, when you're busy and to have something to be able to post about every day or know what you're doing, like a system that will work and that we can go back in 30 days and just do this again, you know, make different things, but having a pattern to follow. I don't know. Sometimes I get like brain foggy around, oh, what should I be doing today? You know, like, but at least it gives me an intention. This is what I should be looking at today. Yep. And then staggering what I want to get to, like you talked about the other day, Larry, that I thought was so wise was, you can use the same stories, but don't necessarily post them on every media outlet on the same day.
That's right.
Stagger it throughout the week. So I still have to figure that piece out, like how I'm going to do that and get myself in a pattern of doing that, sort of, you know what I mean? Like getting a few stories ahead of myself. But that's very powerful too. And I just started in on LinkedIn, and I've just been amazed at how much engagement I'm getting. Not that it's huge or anything, but for not having been on there, and now like getting 50 views and getting 45 views and things like that. So it's really exciting. I haven't gotten any clients from there yet, but I know people are seeing it, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah. And, it's kind of funny that those are great points, Michelle. So when I connect with people on LinkedIn, part of my goal too is to get them over to Facebook eventually, because again, that's a little bit more, it's a little bit more social, right? Versus what I call the business world kind of approach. So as you do that, try to get them over there, and then, eventually enter them into our groups if you could get that conversation, the Healthy for Life, and if they're coach candidates, doing well by doing good. So great feedback on that.
Dee and Larry, I have just one really quick tip that I've kind of discovered over the last week or so. Stories, a lot of times people will see your stories, but they never go to your Facebook page. So I've discovered you can actually tag yourself. So if I make a post and I really want to get people to my page, I blurb it with new post, but then I tag my own page at the bottom. So all they have to do is click on the tag and it takes them right to my Facebook page. So I know you can tag other people, but you can also tag yourself. You just have to search yourself when you click tag.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's the way to get people back to your Facebook page, especially if it's something that you can pique their interest enough and go, click here to see the post, and then they click that and it just takes them right to your page.
Well, that's good to know.
Good to know. See, look at that, was a bonus for showing up today. There you go. We're always giving something here. Great comment. Thank you.
And another tip that I will share, if anybody has had trouble creating or finding new friends, I did join some groups. If you join different groups, and then and I see Debbie Johnson saying, yes. When you join a group, kind of get the feel for the culture of the group. But if it seems appropriate, I put some of my better engagement posts in there, and it really got some conversations going. And then I was able to start commenting and interacting with a few people. And then once we bantered a few times, then I friend requested them. So I got new friends that probably, I never would have, they weren't friends of my friends. It was from a total new arena. So and one of them actually is going to become a client. It worked its way that way. So.
Hey Dee, if I could jump in for a second.
Sure, Debbie.
In one of my groups that I'm in a couple of mom groups that have been nice. I put in how this was so crazy to me. Like, what temperature do you drink your water at? Like, not do you drink water, but how, and I think I had like 80 comments.
Wow.
And so, and from there, I've been able to go in and message a few of them and invite to Healthy for Life and that kind of stuff. So
fantastic. I think you did that with a recipe or something too.
I did. No, same thing. It was a different group. So I try not to crisscross too much, but it was one of the really beautiful recipes that they gave us, and I had tons. That's the one I think I added like 150 to the Healthy for Life. I'm still following up on all that stuff. So
good job.
Yeah, it's
good
fun.
job. Yeah, it shows when we're intentional and get out there and work it in different ways, what's possible.
Dee, I wanted to mention this too, that I put out an engagement post about if you were to have won the lottery, what's the first thing you were going to buy? And that I couldn't wait to see what their dream purchases are. And then I thought, all these people were coming back with really sincere things, not like things off the wall. So now I'm going to go back and say, so how can I help you get that?
Yeah.
So what's your plan for getting that, right? So, I think if we're really creative or think about what we're posting for engagement posts, we can really go back and have some much deeper conversations with people too. So I'm going to work that a little bit and see what happens.
That's great.
Now, the great thing is if we can build the response to say, I would love a health coach kit, That would be ideal, right? So every response would pre-populate that. But anyway.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Hey, I
guys
was
for
going
being
to add
on.
something
Sure.
real quick. I know it's time to go. But I posted in Nextdoor a couple of months back that I had lost 70 pounds and needed to replace my entire wardrobe. So what were asked for suggestions for good consignment and resale shops in the area. And I got a ton of engagement from that post.
Brilliant.
So,
Brilliant.
just wanted to throw that out there.
Right. It wasn't like, hey, I lost this weight, you know, lose weight now, ask me how. You
Right.
went out. Yeah, look, yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the recording. You don't have to go anywhere. We're on for 30 more minutes for Time for You, which is an open forum for any kind of questions. So we can continue the conversation if you've got questions about this or anything related to your business. But I'm going to stop the recording. And if you hopped on just for this part, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.